Hey guys, how's it going? So the ATF is at it again, and this recent leak that I'm about to share with you, it's going to concern all of you who have a CPL, CCW, CHL, basically a handgun permit that was issued by your state and pursuant to the Brady Bill, which is what instituted the Form 4473 and the NICS background checks, would exempt you from that because you've already gone through at least as thorough, if not much more thorough background check to get that pistol permit, right, than you would through the NICS check. Well, it appears the ATF has a new scheme to collect even more of your data, and in many people's opinion, these 4473s are registries. So when you thought that you were using your CPL, CHL, whatever you call it in your state, to bypass NICS, not because you were bypassing a background check, you already had that, but a lot of you do that for anonymity. And I even know people in Kentucky and other states that have constitutional carry that still keep their CPL, CHL, whatever it's called in those states, for that anonymity to not have to call into NICS. And this is coming from AmmoLand News, my friend John Crump. And I'm actually just reading off of a piece of paper here that I printed out from an email because this hasn't been released yet. But he was nice enough to share it with me so all of you could learn about this as soon as possible. So I'm going to leave a link to his channel down in the description. Make sure you go over there and thank John Crump for, always being vigilant and doing this investigative journalism to let us know yet again what the ATF's up to. And also check out Black Swan Tactical. John's company is also handling the 2A EDU merch store, and I'll leave a link to that down in the description too. So this leak comes from a conference call that the ATF had, and what they're doing is having the FBI run these NICS checks, National Criminal Background Check System, retroactively. Yeah. And some of you don't have a CHL, CPL, CCW. They're called many things. So you're going to think, well, this doesn't apply to me. You should be worried about this too, because first of all, we have 30,000 gun control laws. And in my opinion, they're all unconstitutional, since the Second Amendment says, shall not be infringed. However, the laws, as restrictive as they are, and we don't agree with them, they set parameters for the government. And now the government appears to be, in this case, not even following the gun control laws that have been put in place to infringe upon your natural God-given rights. So basically, here's what it comes down to. You went into your gun shop in one of these states where there's a NICS exemption. And Michigan used to be one of those, and we'll talk about that in just a second. And I reported on that on this channel when that took place, when they changed it, where Michigan's no longer. And that's another scheme the ATF's up to. But let's say you live in Alaska, which as far as I know currently has an exemption. Or Kentucky, which as far as I know is also the same way. So you have your card, your CCW, whatever it's called, right? And you had to get a background check. In my case, when I got mine in Michigan, I had to submit fingerprints, and it was actually much more rigorous than an instant check. And basically, when the Brady Act was put in place, it said you have to do this 4473 form, and you still have to do those, okay? But you don't have to actually call into NICS, right? Well, what they're doing is they're going into gun shops when they do their annual inspections, and this is called the Industry Operations Inspectors, the IOI, to collect information on customers that use concealed carry permits instead of obtaining a background check through NICS. It says the purpose of obtaining this information would be to run the customer's data through the NICS to see if the customer would have received approval or denial status. In addition, it will pass on the names and information of customers denied by the NICS to the criminal branch for a special agent to follow up. So they're running these 4473s that you filled out, and you submitted your concealed carry license to your local gun shop. This could have been years ago because this is retroactive. And now they want to take that information, run it through NICS. Now many people believe NICS via the 4473s and these IOIs that come into the gun shops to do routine audits of paperwork and compliance at your FFL. Many people believe that that's being used as a registry, even though a registry is illegal pursuant to federal law. But there's so many things that have happened in the past where they couldn't have known what the buyer was buying and all these different things unless they were keeping a list. So a lot of people have been worried about that, and that's why, again, a lot of people, even in constitutional carry states, still get this concealed pistol license for reciprocity in other states as well, but also so they can bypass this NICS check because they don't want their information telephoned in to the federal government. And I understand why people want their anonymity. I do, especially with every day it seems like lately there's a new leak of something else they're up to undermine our constitutionally protected rights that the government didn't give us, but sure as heck seems like they're trying to take them away more and more every day, doesn't it? So right here it says, according to the Brady Act, states can let gun buyers use concealed carry permits instead of going through the NICS if the permit meets or exceeds the NICS requirement, which in most cases it does. And the issuing agency performs a background check on the permit applicant using NICS. However, even though states like Michigan meet all the conditions laid out in the Brady Act for the NICS exemption, and this is my state, Michigan, the ATF had an issue with how some agencies implemented the law. And this is how pedantic they're being, and in my opinion, outside the rule of law. It said some sheriffs, this is in Michigan, use the National Crime Information Center, NCIC, to perform background checks instead of NICS. But here's the thing, the NCIC database is where the NICS database pulls most of its information. So from how I understand, this NCIC database is an upper level database, NICS is down here and pulls from this. But some Michigan sheriffs are running background checks from the higher level master database, if you will, which is more thorough of a background check, the way I understand it. But since they weren't using specifically NICS, which pulls its information from the one they were running the background checks from. You guys get this? I did say pedantic a second ago, didn't I? They've said no longer. In Michigan, we call it a CPL here. Is that considered a NICS exemption? And now we have to do NICS background checks. Every time we fill out a 4473 at a gun shop to do a firearms transfer, even though we've already done the fingerprints, the photograph you send in, the full extensive background check that goes, through this NCIC database system. Look, we shouldn't need permits to exercise our constitutionally protected natural rights, but even within this draconian system that we're under, that's not good enough for them. They want to reach even further and further, and now go back and retroactively, they're instructing their IOIs to collect the info from these 4473s. So all of you out there who presented your card, your carry permit, to be NICS exempt, allegedly, according to this leak, they may be going through and retroactively running your information for background checks and any other purpose they may be using it for that we don't know about yet, because there's new stuff getting leaked all the time. Alright, well, thanks AmmoLand and John Crump, and make sure you check out the link to his channel down in the description. I don't know, guys, just stay strong. If you wake up every day and you say, man, it's crazy out there, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just being smart and noticing the obvious, and I agree with you. So stay strong, everyone. Alright, thanks for watching, and have a good one.